I believe that we are now live.
Yes, we
Hello.
are.
Robbie's talking teas. We're going to talk a little bit about YouTube and the limitations that tarantula people have. Talk a little bit about your channel, and hopefully, the beard and beauty will be here pretty shortly. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Just finished feeding the whole collection, so I'm in a good mood.
How many spiders are you keeping?
Um, about 250 at the minute, roughly.
Are you
So a
breeding?
fair size. Not at the minute. I'm searching for mature males and or females to go with males, so I will be soon.
Awesome. How long you been keeping?
How long have I been keeping? Ooh, 2 or 3 years, roughly, give or take. I've always had like animals and whatnot around me since I was a kid. So I've grown up with exotic animals like snakes. It took a long time for me to slowly progress into tarantulas. And then once I got my first one, I was hooked.
So, what was your first tarantula?
My first tarantula was a female Brachytoma homori, which
Nice.
is doing great. But the reason why I got that one was as a kid, I, like most people growing up in the 80s, watched the Indiana Jones films. And when you saw in the beginning of Temple of Doom when he was covered on the back with them, I thought, oh my god, that is stunning. I have to have one of those. But my parents was always like, no, you can have anything else, but you're not getting tarantulas, never in the house. So the minute that I left and got my own place, I was like, I'm getting one. And that's what I went out and got. And then the addiction started there once I started discovering all the species that are available. I was like, give me them all. And that's it. It spiraled.
Well, that's exactly the same story for me and Marita. Same movie, even. When I started, though, in the '80s, of course, we were kids. The Mexico had just banned spiders like 2 years before that movie came out, so they were not available. And how I got my first one is I had to order a spiderling. It was about a quarter of an inch. No, it was about an inch long, and I got it from Russell Smith in '94 when Reptiles magazine came out. So
Huh?
who was it that sold you your first Hamori?
Over here, it was the spider shop. I got it as a juvenile. It was about 2, maybe 3 inches, and now it's probably about 5 inches. So it's still
Nice.
got a little bit of growing to do. But yeah,
So
the
what's
spider shop.
that's pretty cool. They've been around for a long time. I've been seeing them in the BTS journals for years and years and years. Um,
Yeah, no, that's been going a long time. Very good
so what?
company.
Very, yeah. They seem to be. I had a friend, Bill King. She actually interviewed him a while back. He he was getting spiders from somewhere over in England. I don't know what company it was. His very first spiders he ordered from over there was Salmopius cambridgei. He got a mature pair from there back in the
Mm.
80s, and it took like a week for them to show up in Montana, and they were alive. He reproduced them, and if it was 10 years before he ever bred another spider, he couldn't get them to breed.
That's the trouble. Like, I'm not sure if climate and stuff has anything to do with it over here, but getting them in the right conditions and the right mood to breed, it seems to be hit and miss over here.
Barometric
So
pressure.
yeah, so a lot of people do have. There's a few species that are very easy over here to breed. You just put them together and they just go for it. But there's a lot over here that it'll take 2, 3, 4, 5 times of trying before you even see the male drumming. Even it is very difficult here.
Well, we've learned a couple things through the years. One of which is that if you have a room full of spiders, the breeding tends to go a lot smoother. We've actually had spiders drop ghost egg sacs just because there were other males. We thought it was a Viculary versicolor. We thought she
Mhm.
was too small to breed, so we never bred her. And we had all these other versicolors with egg sacs, and all of a sudden she has one too, but it was infertile.
Yeah, well, I've had one with a ghost egg sac, and that was my Carabena Layetta. That's the only one that's produced a ghost sac in the whole collection.
Did you have any mature males, Carabina or Vicularia?
Nope,
Wow.
none whatsoever. I've got a female Carabena versicolor, but no mature males. So
Wow.
it was strange because I went to do a rehousing and I opened it up and I saw her in there holding it. And I was like, oh, hello, what's going on here? But, really weird.
So you've been keeping about 3 years. You got 240 spiders. Do you keep any reptiles now?
No, not anymore. I do want to get into maybe getting one or two just for something different in the collection, but I'm limited for space and it's hard enough now with the whole collection that I've got to sort of slot one in, but I would like to get a reptile in the future.
So what are you thinking? What
I'm
species?
only something small. Like when I was younger, I had a bearded dragon and just a leopard gecko, and they were so easy to care for and look after, and they're quite common over here. That I'd probably just end up getting one of those again if I was to get one.
We've got bearded dragon eggs right now, so we're hoping they'll hatch in March.
Ooh, that'd be good if I did.
All right. So now that Mom is here, uh,
When he calls me that, makes me sound like a 90-year-old. If I'm your mom.
let me see if I can adjust. There we go. Now
Okay.
you can see both of us a little
Okay.
better. Um, so you were talking on your live about how you thought that there isn't a whole lot of playroom as far as what tarantula keepers can do that's new. Um,
On video.
Yeah. So could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. What I was saying was when it comes to the niche of tarantula content, people come and they have expectations. They're either searching for husbandry or what different to see what different species are out there. And when it comes to the platform, anyone creating a YouTube channel, they sort of have to stick into that, like that husbandry or that species specific thing, because there's not much else. You could make a feeding video or a molting video and go into the science of what happens, etc. But other than that, there's not really much playroom to do anything else. It's very dimensional. And if you've got, say, 100 channels all producing the same content, you can't do anything else with it. If you do step outside of that, I think you either run the risk of doing something that's bad for the hobby or give misinformation on what tarantulas are all about. And also, you probably get labeled as irresponsible as a keeper, if that makes sense. Like this, I've seen certain videos from certain YouTubers that have got a really bad reputation because they've stepped outside the box of producing what people would expect just for entertainment content, and it's just not what we need in the hobby. And I think it does paint the hobby in a bad light.
Well, the thing about it is that as create content creators, we're always striving to bring something new and, in our opinion, something educational to the hobby. So
Mm-hmm.
you said you're good friends with Petco. several years ago. Well, we're not subscribed to him right now, but when he was first on, he went out to his yard and got a piece of wood and put it in his bathtub and got 10,000 views overnight. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, there was nothing negative about that, but he found a way to drive views to his channel with a piece of wood. So
Yes.
We were a little lost as to what people were interested in. It wasn't, I mean, it wasn't bad footage, but it wasn't like a cinematographer's dream. I mean, and he's, pretty animated on camera, but it's not like there's nothing super compelling about him as far as we can understand.
No, I've seen that video as well. I think the reason why I think people would get compelled about something like that is because mostly new people coming into the hobby, I think, who have no knowledge that you could go outdoors and get something that wasn't bought in a shop, which isn't, you know, sterilized and, mass produced and whatnot, that you could actually go out and use natural resources. So maybe the views come from that because they was like, I never knew you could do that. Is that safe? Is that so? Maybe it's a little bit along those lines that
and I think
maybe it generates those views.
and I think his channel does have that appeal. When he started, he was just starting to keep tarantulas, and his journey is the same as somebody that's just getting into the hobby. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
caught a lot of people's attention, rather than having somebody that's come in and Moon Over Miami says, I think it's his personality that makes people look. So that's a good
There's
point.
a
He
lot of
does.
that as well.
He's good on camera, but it's some people don't want to come in with somebody that has spent time in the hobby and already has their ways set. They're looking for that fresh take. Which when he first built his tarantulas, he built a nice little studio, if you'd want to say, where he kept all of his spiderlings,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked pretty good. And now people have taken that. Hello, Annie's arachnids and secret forest creatures. And now there's people all over the place that are putting LEDs on all their tarantula containers over them so that they're bright and really show up. And we've always been utilitarian. We run so many numbers that we have to keep it pretty uniform and cheap, because the numbers of spiders go anywhere from 3 to 400 to over 2,000 overnight, literally.
And
Mm-hmm.
basically, the more complex each setup is, the more time it takes to clean it. And, you're not seeing egg sacs or just, different areas that could be molding, or basically the animals tend to thrive in more simplistic enclosures in our experience. And I personally am a fan of the naturalistic enclosures. I think they're fun and beautiful. And I imagine people might prefer to see that, but it's just not something that we do for the most part.
I think personally, for me, I think it depends on your mindset and your intention.
Hmm.
I think if you're keeping the animals with the intent to breed them and sell them on, then a more simplistic, easier, so you can log everything and check everything, and so you can send it out and whatnot and keep it in good condition, then yes, that that's the way to do it. But if you're the general hobbyist, so to speak, who's only going to have two, three, maybe four, and that's it, then they are going to be influenced by what they see on YouTube. So when they
Right.
do see the big personalities, so to speak, with these glitzy enclosures, they sort of want to imitate that. So that's that's going to happen. You've just got to determine on what you want to do with your spiders, which direction you're intending to go in.
And I agree with you completely. The When you're trying to set up your channel, you've got a goal, and our goal was when both of us started. When it came to breeding tarantulas, there was one book out there that even had a temperature in it, and it
Hmm.
was the Guy de Miguel's. This was in the 90s, and nobody was sharing secrets on how they were reproducing. So when we started this channel, we started watching Rob C. I don't know if you ever seen him, Tarantula guy, 1976.
Yep, I have. Yeah.
And he was breeding stuff left and right, and he was sharing some of his secrets, but he wasn't sharing the real intimate stuff, the stuff that people don't even think about. So that's what our channel was basically focused on. Is we wanted everybody that if they wanted to breed a spider, that it was possible and that there was information out there that they could go by. And
Hmm.
I think you said in your channel, in that chat that I was watching, that what works for us here is not necessarily going to work for you over there. And that's something that we need to explain a little better, because what we do here is not what's done on the coasts, because it's so humid there and we live in the desert. We have to do things a little differently than they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Hmm.
think that was a good point that you made about that. But you also said that you were good friends with Petco. I didn't think Petco really had any friends. I thought he was kind of a
Pet,
loner.
Petco is a very shy guy. Even though he's, a big personality on the internet, on YouTube and whatnot, when you meet him in person, he's not as extrovert as he puts on camera. He's very introverted. And I think maybe that's why he comes across as not having many friends, because he is a bit. I, I think he wants to sort of separate a personal life from a YouTube life and keep the two separate. I think maybe that's why he comes across that way.
So have you been to his place and seen his setups?
No, I saw him when the last time I saw him, he came over here for the Brighton Invert show, where a whole load of YouTubers from the UK all turned up, and we all met up and chatted and took part in each other's videos, and that's the last time I saw him. But since then, it's sort of been emailing back and forth and just chatting that way.
So Secret Forest Creatures UK said, I met him. He's a really nice guy. He talked to me for ages at a show. Moon over Miami said he lost his hamster and now he's got a new hamster. I shouldn't
I
laugh
saw
because
that.
it's not. And Annie's Arachnid says hi. Well, so going more into what we're talking about as far as original content, is there is a guy that is doing videos right now. I'm gonna have to look him up. Maybe you know who it is. Is it Owls Arachnids? He does interviews with people, and what he does is he actually sends the questions to them, and then they film themselves, and then he asks the questions and then edits it all together. And
Hmm.
our interest has always been, we're always looking for the people that are old school, that if we met a guy here that keeps gray band king snakes here in the state of Texas, and he's been doing it since the 70s. This guy is when it comes to gray bands, there's probably not a whole lot more people that know much about the animal overall than this guy, and that's the people we're looking for. So I think it's interesting that this guy found this method of interviewing people, because he makes it pretty funny and he makes it really interesting. So I
Hmm.
think that there's lots of room for us to expand and still keep the content within the parameters of keeping it safe for the animals. You just have to keep always searching. We're doing a deal about fairies, which is not an invertebrate, but and
It's kind
it's
of a spoof series.
yes, and we've been working on it, and it's hated as much as it's loved. And so
Hmm.
we're always experimenting with stuff like that. So what do you do with, because you do incorporate a lot of horror, right?
That's correct.
And
I do.
so what is your, when you're putting a video together, what's your thought process for how you're gonna incorporate those two things?
Well, at first, I came into YouTube to sort of remove the stigma that tarantulas are big, ferocious, gonna kill you while you're sleeping in your bed type animal. So when I come into YouTube, I thought, okay, I need several angles in which to put that across. So I was already a huge horror fan from day dot. I've been a huge horror fan. I've got a huge horror memorabilia collection in the house that I love. So I thought to myself, the people that are going to watch my videos either already love tarantulas and just can't get enough content, but how do I get people that are not interested in tarantulas to click on it and still get the same message or get the message that they're not big, nasty animals? So I thought to myself, if I put horror aspects into the videos, psychologically, if they're scared of like the music or the video footage that I would have used, like a little clip that I used, the spider's going to be the least of their worries at all. And they're more likely to then focus on the tarantula and not what's going on around them and take in the information and get to the end and think, well, actually, they're not that bad. Rather than just throwing the tarantula in their face and say, it's not that bad, man up, sort of thing. For me, it was a psychological thing, and it came naturally because I was a horror fan.
Interesting.
What's your favorite horror movie? You've probably said it in a video, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, my favorite horror movie would either be Nightmare on Elm Street, or if you want to go down the sci-fi horror, it would be Predator. Either one of those.
Interesting. So did you think that the first Nightmare was better than the third?
I did, but only because, for me, the first film, even though it was jokey, they took it seriously. By the third film, even though the story was a lot better, they made it more jokey and they made it more comedic and more sort of slapstick, so to speak. So for me, that took away a little bit from it. So yeah, I do prefer the first one.
It was a good movie. I really enjoyed that when it came out, and it did scare me. So that's really cool. So how are people responding to you in comments about the way that you're approaching tarantulas is trying to put something a little more scary in front of it so people aren't so afraid of spiders?
Mixed. I get mixed reviews. I either get comments from people saying, I absolutely love your content, keep it going, or I get people saying, that music was so creepy that I thought, so suspenseful that I thought something was going to happen, and it didn't. But it kept me on the edge of my seat watching it, waiting for that jump scare, and it didn't happen. So it is mixed. Some people do get it, and some people say I shouldn't do it, and so. But I enjoy the content that I put out, and I think as a content creator, you've got to enjoy your own content. Because if you don't, you're going to give up making it. So I'll continue to put out what I enjoy, hoping that other people will enjoy it.
Well, you're doing a great job. We enjoy your videos. What's your schedule for how often you put out videos?
At the moment, because of lockdown, I'm putting them out one a week because where I live, I don't keep my tarantulas where I live. They're in a separate place. And it's a 35-minute drive away. And because of the whole not essential travel and traveling, I make sure that I come once a week so I can spend time with the collection and film the video and then edit it and pull it out. But when I'm not here, I've got someone else here who comes in and does maintenance and looks after them. So during lockdown, it's gone to once a week. But I will, once we start getting back to normal, try and put out like 2 videos.
Awesome. So you said you're working 3 jobs. What are you doing?
I do lots of stuff. Um, yeah, I've got a painting and decorating company. I've got the invert mystery subscription box called Creature Crate that launched in December. I'm also a musician. I do YouTube, and that's pretty much it.
Wow.
So by
So
your looks, you play country western, don't you?
I do like a bit of country western.
What do you play?
What don't I play? I've been
Really?
playing music since I was about 3 years old. Yeah,
What
I
what
play
is, what is
guitar.
your instrument? Your axe?
My main instrument is a guitar, electric guitar. I prefer. I've got a Fender Jaguar and a Les Paul Custom, which are my go-to for playing guitar. But I do also play drums, bass, keyboard, trumpet, saxophone, a little bit of violin, piano, banjo, harmonica, and a little bit on the mandolin, but I'm not very good at that.
Wow.
So when you're incorporating your music are into your videos, are you using any of your original stuff? Or,
No,
how
not
come?
yet.
Ah,
Um, like I said, because I had the whole idea of using music and visuals to have a certain psychological effect during my videos, my music that I write myself is very far removed from that. So it wouldn't have the same effect that I'm looking for. And I do think when I put videos together, I look at the videos as if I'm writing a movie and I want it to go through certain emotions and certain feelings at certain points during the video. I'm sure further down the line I could write scores and put my own music on there, but it would just take time to
And you
make
could
it
play
and
all the
produce it.
instruments.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
We've got some more people in the chat. Eight Legs, Four Wheels jumped in. LV Quirky Creatures. 94 Kaz. Everybody's just kind of saying, hey, how you doing? Somebody said, Annie's Arachnid said you're a man of many talents. Somebody's requesting that you do a concert. I want
I
to know
used
about
to
all
do
your
them.
beautiful tattoos.
All my tattoos. Oh, my sister
Yes.
does them. My sister's a
Really?
tattoo artist. Yeah. So
Is she
I
a
got her
professional tattooist? It looks really good.
she's getting there. She's getting there. She started about 5 years ago, and originally she was just a normal artist
Mm.
on pen and paper, but that wasn't enough for her. And then she wanted to get into tattooing, and then I was silly enough to turn around and go, look, no one will let you tattoo them. I'll let you tattoo me. If you mess it up, I'll get a cover up. And yeah, I just let her do all my tattoos now. I let her
Okay,
do her
so
first one right through to her last one.
wow. So she's done all of your ink.
Mm-hmm.
How many
Yeah.
tattoos would you say you have?
I've got probably about 30, maybe. I haven't really sat and
Is
counted.
there a theme?
Not really. Whatever I like at the time or whatever she's drawn that I think, oh, that looks nice, I'll have that. Don't No, there's not really a theme, so to speak.
Do you have anything animal related?
Anything animal related? Hmm. No, I don't actually. Thinking about it, no, I don't. I
Well,
should
I'm
do.
thinking
I should
about
get one.
getting another one, and I don't know what or where. So if you have an idea, I want it probably to be animal related, but I also really love fantasy, and so maybe like sort of a reptilian looking dragon, or maybe a tarantula or a snake, but it would have to be like it'd have to be a really, really good artist and a really good tattooist because I wouldn't want some generic, cheesy looking
Mm-hmm.
thing. So show us if you can, the tattoo that you like the least, and
Oh, the
tell us
one I
the
like the
story.
least. is my sister's first ever tattoo that she did on me.
That was easy.
Is this one right here, and it's supposed to be Chucky from Child's Play, but it doesn't really look like it. So that is my least favorite one.
So now that she's better, have you thought about having her put something over it?
I have thought about it, but not yet because it's her first tattoo, so
Yeah.
it's sort of sentimental and historic. So I've just sort of left it there.
So show us your favorite one if you can.
My favourite one is the last one she did, which is here, which is my Predator tattoo. Like I said, one of my favourite horrors is Predator, and that's the last one.
Wow.
So she's come on a long way. She's
That's
trying
really
to do
nice.
something. But yeah, that's my favourite one.
And are they all just black ink?
No, some are coloured. Like
Okay.
I've got a pin-up, music related. But yeah, some are coloured. Some
Okay.
are unfinished that I'll get finished eventually.
Wow.
Did your sister live close to you, or do you have to travel to go visit her for your sessions?
She's about 20 minutes drive away, so she's not that far.
Cool. So you're into art, you're into tarantulas, and you're into music. What else do you do when you're not working 3 jobs?
What else do I do? I like to catch up on people's YouTube channels, and I'm big on movies, reading. I do like books every now and then. Not as much as I don't read as much as I should do, but yeah, it's just anything that stimulates my brain into learning or whatever. That is what I throw myself into.
Is
'Cause
your
I think
formal
that's
education like some kind of design, or you said that you do like painting and interior design or something?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the area that your formal education is in, or are you just that creative
Oh
and
no! That what happened was when like I said, I've been playing music since I was 3 years old, and from the minute that I saw the Clash and the Sex Pistols play and heard the records and whatnot, I thought that's it. That's what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. But as you get older, you realize that maybe you're not going to do that for the rest of your life. So you should maybe go and learn to do something else in the meantime. And that's exactly what I did. Was I just did job because I wanted to do something else. So everything I learned and whatnot was sort of just to make money and get by on, like, because I always knew the way I wanted to go. But then obviously once I got into the hobby and I thought I could do that on YouTube as well, then I thought, do I want to carry on with music or do I want to make a success at YouTube? And then it all rolled into one big snowball basically, and then I've ended up just doing all of it.
Interesting.
Oh, for the record, he was also in Indiana Jones, saw the movie, and I want a tarantula from there.
Oh,
Yeah,
very cool. Very
that was
cool.
the inspiration.
Well, when I was a kid, my dream was to be a professional drummer, and I was going to do it. And I actually had an offer from an aunt. She offered to pay me and pay for me to go live in LA. This was in '89, and spent 3 months there. But the deal was, if I couldn't get making money and a band, then I'd have to come back and go to school. And so I chickened out, and I should have done it and just stayed there.
He
Should have done it.
also
You should
had
have done
an
it.
offer to go to India for like a year. And
My parents were trying to keep me away from wife number one, and I should have taken them up on the offer. So,
Oh, you should have done it. You should have done it.
yeah, India has some of my favorite animals in the whole world, which most people have like something on that planet, on that continent.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been quite an experience. So, have you
Yeah.
ever been able to go out and actually see a tarantula in the wild?
No, sadly not. But when I was in Australia a few years ago, I did manage to go out and check out some of their natural wildlife. That's the closest I've ever come to really doing it. And obviously, it's a bit difficult having all the jobs and stuff that I do have and traveling and going to see things like that. I would like to one day. I definitely would.
Well, you have an open invitation to come here. There's lots of tarantulas, and we've got plenty of room for you. So come on down
Oh, I
anytime.
appreciate it. I might take you up on that.
Seriously.
It would be a dream to actually see them in the wild.
Well, what's your dream spider right now, the one that's in your collection? And what's the one that you hope to eventually learn the most about, meaning reproduce, keep for years, whatever?
That is an awesome question. I think my ultimate favorite would be the Pisophyria metallica. I've got three of them in the collection now, possibly four, three or four of them. But Pisophyria in general are my favorite genus in the whole hobby. And the problem with me is I'll look at one, say the Metallica, and I'll go, that's my favorite. And then I'll move to the next enclosure and I'll go, actually, no, you are my favorite. And then I'll go, yeah, that's my favorite. And then the next one catches my eye and I go, no, you're my favorite. I can't make my mind up which one's my favorite. So I
So
always just say the genus.
what do you enjoy? Do you like the colorful ones? What do you enjoy the most or appreciate? What draws you to a species?
What draws me to a species? Well, I think for the Pisophyria, it's the fact that you don't see them out that often. And when you do, and you see those colours and go, oh my God, that is stunning. Now, I know the coloration isn't as stunning as, say, like a Xenethus or what else is there that's really colourful, like Carabiner Versicolor or anything like that. But when they're out in the open all the time and you just see them, they're just there. Like they're not striking when they're an everyday. There it is. So for me, with pokies, that's it. The mystery that you don't see them, and when you do, they stand out.
Well, Poecilotheria have the most contrast out of all the tarantulas. There's so many different variations and shades in their color
Mm-hmm.
to mimic the tree bark that stands out
Right.
in that genus.
Yeah, they're really
Yeah.
beautiful. No doubt.
I mean,
And
it's like I got here this morning. Uh, what was it? About 6:30, 6:45 this morning, and it was still dark. And when I walked in, all my Pisophyria are on a shelf all the way along. And I walked in, it was dark. And as soon as I switched that light on, boom, 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 there they all was out. Every single one of them. So for me, that's like, oh, wow.
you ever had one get out, escape?
Pokey, I've had the only escape I've ever had was a Stromatopelma calceatum that escaped. It was, I featured it in a video actually. The biggest video on my channel. I was rehousing it and it escaped, and it was loose in this room for 2 days. Couldn't catch it at all. But that's the only one I've had out.
Well, we tend to have lots of cages and stuff. This was years ago. I had a Poecilotheria fasciata get out, and she was getting ready to drop a sack. And my worst nightmare was that she was going to drop that sack somewhere and then just stay holed up until it hatched.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so,
Not that we would be afraid of having baby spiders everywhere like everyone else, but like our
Mm-hmm.
babies, like we need them.
Yeah, that's
but
it. And,
go ahead. Well, what we did is just get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start flashing a light. In the middle of the night, one night, I heard a thump, and she was trying to climb our bookcase, and those slippery books, it dropped her down, and she actually made a noise, and that's how I found her.
uh, that's awesome. Well, we found ours, like the person that helped me in the tarantula room was sat right here. And was, I can't remember if they was watching TV or they was live streaming. I remember them saying it's over there, and it was down the side, just like out of her peripheral vision, behind one of the enclosures on the other shelf. And as soon as she went to catch up it and get it out, it was gone. And then she saw it over the other side of the room, and it was too high up, and she couldn't get it. And then it run down behind the refrigerator and sat behind there for a day. And then it was over here, up on this wall the next day. And it took a couple of days before she managed to catch up it and rehouse it.
That spider is unique to work with. When we had to transfer them out, once they got above an inch or two, we'd take them outside, put them in a great big water tub, so that if they did escape, they'd at least get tired before they got close to the edge. Because once those things move, you lose them out of your vision. They just disappear until they stop again. They're fast.
Yeah, that's it.
So Kaz is saying, I was on a call with her when she found it halfway through the sentence. Oh my gosh, it's there. That's funny. So I want to know about the people in your life, and like, do you so it sounds like someone helps you with your collection. Obviously, is your collection in someone else's home? Growing up, were your parents anti-spider? Have there been girls that wouldn't date you because of tarantulas? Tell us a little bit about your circle.
It was my parents. My parents let me have any animal I wanted growing up. Absolutely anything. Wow. Like I said, I had lizards. I had stuff like barn owls. I had like ferrets. I had, you name it, it was in the house. But the very mention of the word spider was no, not in my house. Wait until you've got your own place and you can have one. And that's why it took me so long to get my very first one, because the minute I left home, I was like, I'm my own boss now. I'm getting one. So yeah, it was very much like that growing up.
Interesting.
And you asked about the help. Annie's Arachnid in the chat, you mentioned, that's who helped me with the whole collection.
That's awesome. So do they stay at her house?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. Very nice. Very nice. So are you a single man for all the ladies out there?
That's cool.
Robbie's Talking Teas is open for business. So have there ever been any girls? Have there ever been any girls you were interested in who, once they found out, like, ooh, this dude's a sexy musician, all this stuff, and then you're like, yeah, I keep, 100 tarantulas, and she's like, no way.
No, I've never had that.
Really?
Firstly,
maybe because they're not in your house.
No,
they just all think you're a sexy musician and it's worth it no matter what.
I wish they would. But no, where I haven't been keeping them for that long, that situation really hasn't arisen. So yeah, I can't answer the question because I've got no experience in that.
We have people write us and tell us in person every day, I would never go to your house. And I'm like, you weren't invited. That's a bonus point right there. But people just, his parents were anti-tarantula, and my parents didn't really want me messing around because I moved to the desert in the 80s and there were wild tarantulas, centipedes, vinegar, scorpions, all these big, invertebrates that were really fascinating, that people weren't sure which ones were dangerous and which ones weren't. So you just don't touch them. And there's all kinds of myths like about centipedes. If they get on you, they bite you with all of their legs and there's no way to get them off unless you burn it off, and you have to burn yourself and it's like, people just don't know. And people think that, vinegaroons are dangerous. Oh, they're deadly scorpions. Well, no, they're not. They stink. But they're really cute though, and they can't really do anything to you. And so, I grew up around a lot of animals, but my family wasn't very familiar with exotic and reptiles. In the hills of California where I grew up, there were wild reptiles. Then in the desert in New Mexico, there were a lot of wild reptiles. And so I would chase after, um, people call them horny toads or horned lizards. They're these they look kind of like a bearded dragon. And, people would say, oh, they'll shoot blood out of their eyes at you. And I've even read that. And I've caught 50 of them, 100. Never seen it happen. Besides that, that's cool. I mean, it's not going to hurt you, even if they could do that.
I actually have some squirt blood.
You have?
Yeah, it's not anything special. It's like you feel a little moisture and you look and there's red on your arm and there's no blood on the animal at all. It's just a deterrent. But
more kind of like a blind snake.
Moon over Miami says keeps the mother-in-law away, and he likes Aragog, the Harry Potter
There
spider.
we go. There we go. Whiptail scorpions.
A
Yes.
lot of people like that. A lot of people like that.
For everybody that's watching, I'm so sorry. The beard has just showed up. I screwed up the times and I messed it up for us. I scheduled it with Robbie and then I was an hour off. So I'm so sorry, John. I love you. You look beautiful.
Yes, you do. Look at those beautiful rosy cheeks.
This is just woke up face. So
it's lovely. It's lovely.
Joy of babies teething. You don't get sleep.
Oh, yucky.
He's almost there. The problem is he's cutting his top canines and he's cutting his second molar on the bottom at the same time.
So your child is turning into a werewolf.
Yes.
I'm glad we're through those stages. Aren't you so glad?
Yes.
Last one.
Oh, well, hey, never say never.
Oh, no. It's going to be a never. Those tubes are getting tied.
Yours, you're getting the snip?
I can't do it anymore. Love them. Can't do it anymore.
All right, that was a welcome. Thank you for telling us about your testicular health and your child's metamorphosis into a temporary monster.
So we're talking with Robbie's Talking Teas. He's I don't know if you had a chance to review his channel. John is more of a reptile guy. He's just getting into tarantulas.
He loves them.
I followed, I've watched a couple of the P Metallica videos. I watched your rehoming that you have on your homepage. And then I looked at a couple of others, but the P Metallica obviously caught my eye because everyone's like, oh, the venom's actually significant. So whenever I see a P Metallica video, I kind of tend to flock towards those.
And they're gorgeous.
They
didn't know that yet.
Amazing.
Of course, they look kind of like gray and black until you get them in full spectrum light, and then they are blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they lose that when they mature.
True.
So I suppose the way the light reflects through the hairs and produces that blue, are at certain angles would probably still appear grey and black.
And the interesting thing about that species is they have an old age. They get gray haired and they turn black, which is something I don't know if you were around when they were when they hit North America here. Some people were aging some out. They were turning black and they were selling them for $1,000 a piece because they were calling them a morph of the Metallica and nobody knew.
And then they would die.
Yep. So we actually
a lot of money to spend on one.
It's an amazing hobby, but unfortunately for us here in North America, we are about 10 years behind you guys as far as the keeping and how everything's going. Of course, with YouTube, that gap has narrowed quite a bit. But you guys have Germany so close, and the story is that if there's a spider discovered in the wild, there's a German buying tickets to that area.
That's right.
And
there's
the
a
Germans.
lot of,
Go ahead.
There's a lot of sellers in Europe in general, like Germany and Poland and places like that, that you're right, they do go straight out and bring them all back.
So tell me about the hobby in Poland. We've had a couple people from Poland contact us, and I think it's fantastic that they're working with spiders, but I don't know anything about what they're doing. Are they keeping them differently? You're saying that they're actually able to go out in the wild and collect them and bring them back. What do you know about those guys over there?
Oh my! Well, I know a couple of them. I've got a couple of friends that are breeders from Poland. But what they mostly do is they go from Poland, they fly to whatever location, and they pick up spiders. But most of them then bring them back here and sell them here because I think there's more of a market for them over here than actually in Europe. Because a lot of the sellers that are still in Europe, like I'm trying to think one at the minute, can't think of a breeder offhand. A lot of their sales are actually then shipped here from Poland and have been bought by buyers over. So I'm not sure if it's the hobby's as big over there, but I know that that is what they do mainly.
So what's the process to get a spider in from Poland? Do you have to have quarantine and the whole 9 yards with the animals to come across the borders?
Nope.
That's awesome.
Well, it may be different now that we've left the EU. There will be a different way that they ship and whatnot. You need more paperwork and whatnot. But pre-Brexit, no, you could send it straight over, just bump straight into the country. There's no red tape or anything like that with importing and exporting in that way.
Yeah, we can't even send stuff into Canada, which, what is Canada? What spider could we send into Canada that's going to populate Canada? That it's lots of paperwork to get anything across, and ball pythons is a huge market over there. So these people spend up to $1,000 just getting their paperwork squared away just to be able to ship in there. So it's really cool that you guys can do that. I don't know if you know, but back in the 90s, our main supplier for tarantulas here in the United States was a guy named Bryant Capiz, and his girlfriend was a stewardess. So for $75, he had round trip tickets to go to England. He'd go to the British Tarantula Society show, buy up every table he could afford to buy, bring it home, and that was our new species for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. I mean, it was a lot easier, but things have changed.
So what's your bucket list species that you'd love to have that you don't have or don't know if you'd be able to get for whatever reason, whether it's in the hobby or not?
Oh, that's a good question.
That look you get on your face.
That's a good question because pretty much I've had bucket list tarantulas, but I've always just gone and bought them. Like the minute I've seen them, I've snapped them up. There's nothing that I've actually sat and gone, I'll wait for that. It's not where I've been in such I'll say a hurry to get as many as I can in the time that I've been in the hobby. All the bucket list ones at the beginning, I would have said I have to have. I've actually got them there. So I haven't really got a bucket list tarantula, but I would turn around and say that I'm at the point where I'm after just something that catches my eye at the time when I'm looking. There's nothing I'm really, I've got to have that right now sort of thing.
I guess that's the beauty of being single without children, working in 3 jobs and your money's just for you and what you want. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
Must be awesome.
So is there a goal that you have with your spiders? Do you want to end up with 1,000? Do you want to reproduce consistently? What is your long-term goal with tarantulas?
Well, my main goal with tarantulas, now I've seen over the years that I've been in the hobby, that when new species come into the hobby, There's a lot of people that would love to buy them, but they're always so overly priced. So I've got several goals. Mine would be to get breeding pairs and sell them, but I would like to be able to sell to people at affordable prices. So like people don't have to shed out like a month's worth of their money that they earn just to buy one species. For me, I'm not greedy. I've always thought to myself, if I got a breeding pair of tarantulas, say like, I don't know, let's think of something that's going to be expensive now. Like Birapes Simiomyxigorum, for example. Over here, they're outrageously priced because they've just come into the hobby. If I could make back the money that I spent on a breeding pair, anything else would be a bonus. And if people could have them for half the price that breeders are, charging for them, I'd be happy just to be able to put them into their everyday hobbyist hands. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say your mentors are in the hobby? Who are some people you look up to?
Who are the people I look up to? I look up to Tom Moran. I think he's a really good friend, a really good guy, really great information, and a really good influence in the hobby. When I first got into you guys, yours was one of the first channels I started watching. You're awesome. So I've looked up to you since I started. Tarantula Dan, he's awesome. He's a great influence in the hobby. So, and also Petco, the Dark Den. So you four were the main people that got me into YouTube and got me into wanting to keep tarantulas.
Awesome. Who would you say are your best friends that you've made being in the hobby?
All these guys. All the things. Awesome. All these guys, because without them, I wouldn't have my own channel. I wouldn't have met any of the people that I speak to daily because of the channel. So yeah, I have them to thank for it.
Awesome.
John?
What was the I don't know if you can hear me, sorry. I leaned back.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing when you initially started keeping for you? I know for me, I found it hard to well, they're my wife's, so they're not even mine, they're my wife's, but I end up taking care of them because she's got mommy duty during the day. Yeah, Scouty has mommy duty. During the day.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. So I end up taking care of all the animals, and I have predominantly desert species, so they're okay. You could go a little over a week and not spray them down or spray their substrate down, and then I have one. What is it? I forget how to say the scientific name. It's the one you guys were selling at Arlington, and I think they changed the classification on it too. I was trying to look into it, but
I don't even remember what we got.
It's that species we got
from M something Spilodiae South, I think. I don't remember. Anyways, it's more of a forest spider, right? Or forest tarantula, so it needs the extra humidity. So I was having to go in there at least once a week and give it a good spray so that it was staying hydrated, right? So hydration was the biggest thing, like my biggest challenge for teas. So I'm just kind of wondering, other people when they start out, because everyone has different experiences, what was the hardest thing for you?
I think the hardest thing for me was to stop stressing about the tarantula. Like when I first got them, I was like, is it too humid? Is it too dry? Why hasn't he eaten for a week? Why isn't it done? All the questions that new keepers do ask themselves. and continuously thinking, am I doing this right or am I doing it wrong? So overcoming that and just letting the tarantula be a tarantula was my hardest stumbling block. Because when I was stressing about that, that's when I took to YouTube and started watching the husbandry videos and started really learning what's what and just thinking, you know what? The tea will let you know what it wants because they do have certain signs that you pick up on when you've been keeping them a long time. So it just sort of come naturally, but overcoming that stumbling block was my personal hardest part.
I'm sorry, I'm paying attention to you. I'm trying to find the name of that spider. Now it's like a little sticker sitting in you when something like this happens. So
I hate it when that happens.
And I know he'll figure it out, so I'm good. John, I just have to say your beard is looking luscious today.
It's getting there. I put some
it's filling in nicely
in this morning because it was just like.
So I have. This is just curiosity's sake. Do you comb your beard? I've never had a beard.
I use oil and then I use like a balm that has bee wax in it.
Yeah.
So it holds it down and doesn't let it go everywhere. And then I have like a horsehair brush that I run through it, and then a wooden brush that I run through it
to make it beard maintenance.
Yeah, I do more maintenance on the beard than.
Idea? I had no idea.
I don't know how you grow it that long.
How do you tell us?
For me, when mine starts to get even any real length on it, I'm scratching my face. I'm irritable. I just have to trim it all off. I can't deal with it.
Is it itchy, John?
No, that's what the oil's for. So like the oils are made to soothe your skin so it doesn't get all itchy and crazy.
He used to have a goatee. That's been the extent of his facial hair, which I appreciate. Yeah, he's perfect.
It's not for everyone. It's okay.
But beards are in style right now, so.
Well, being Mexican, my beard only grows in pieces. I got big chunks of just skin and then hair, and that's how my beard comes out.
You could do the white herb.
I think as you've gotten older, you've gotten a little hairier, but.
So with the tarantulas, so you want to get a bearded dragon.
Or a leopard gecko, maybe, he said.
Are you looking for, if you were to do it, would you want to just get the traditional colors, or would you be looking for something unusual?
No, yeah, just traditional. Like, for me, like, I don't know, because I just had the traditional one when I was younger. I think I would just want that again as like nostalgia, if that makes sense. Just
yeah, definitely
go back to that, because that was my first experience with one. So
we've got a trio of leopard geckos. I've been trying to get them to breed for years, and we haven't been able to breed leopard geckos for a couple of years, and I wish I knew what I was doing wrong. They're nice and fat. They look like they have eggs. I think it's maybe the egg-laying chamber.
Well, our one employee that we have here is in charge of it, and he's good at some things. Substrate hydration is not his strength, so I don't know. We probably need to take that project over, but it'll probably happen in time. I mean, he's in charge of the bearded dragons. We've got a bunch of eggs incubating right now, so.
Sometimes it just takes patience. You let it happen when it happens.
It's true. That's totally true. So tell us what your favorite thing about keeping tarantulas is. Do you enjoy going and cleaning them and taking care of them every week? I would imagine you do, because yours don't even live with you, so that's probably the only time you see them.
I do. The whole maintenance thing and finding like if any have molted or just the little surprises that they bring. And like you said, where I don't live with them, I find it therapeutic and exciting when I go in there. Like when I'm doing my feedings, like I could be there for like 9 hours and it'd be like that. I, I, I can't get enough of being around them. But the problem is, when I go away and I'm doing everyday life, I'm still just thinking about it constantly. It's just always there on my mind, whether I'm here or not. So I think just knowing having them is what excites me.
I'm curious, are you not allowed to have animals at your place because you're renting, or do you just not have the space, or?
When I first started out, I did have them just in my little box room.
Mm-hmm.
Then as it grew, needed more room. And then when it grew more, needed even more room. So it had to move out.
I
Getting to
see.
the point where like I said, you can't have all that in that little room. So I was like, okay, we'll just send it somewhere else.
Yeah, our collection has gone through a bunch of phases. So, I mean, through the years. And at one point, we kind of only had a few, like 25 or so. So they were just in our bathroom on a little stand because we had a really big bathroom in New Mexico. And then ultimately we put up a whole building for them because, that's how big it got. And now they're back in our house again, but it's a pretty, 5 bedrooms. We do have, he says, we don't have animals in every room, the bathrooms. We don't have animals in the bathrooms. Yeah. Every other room though, yes, there are animals living, which I actually like. Yeah, we don't have venomous animals sleeping at the foot of our bed anymore, so they're at least on the other side of the house. But we do have animals. If you don't include the bathrooms, we do have animals in every room. But we're working on putting a building up here. To just I don't know why. I mean, why? So we can have our house for a living.
No, so we can get bigger. We've got
Yeah, so we
9
can grow.
reticulated pythons.
12.
And we've got
13.
We've got 2 cages that are big enough for them. Everybody else is tiny, so it's not a problem now.
Not
But
tiny, but
might
they're
turn to
going to
15.
need more room and time.
What's that, John?
He said it might turn to 15. I'll talk to you guys offline.
Oh, don't tease me.
I'll talk to you guys offline.
Uh-oh.
That
Well,
sounds
did you
good.
know that we just bought 3 retics from Mary? No, 2. 3?
3. Shh.
Yeah. Oh,
You're welcome.
okay. Scratch that, everyone. La la la. Pretend you didn't hear that.
You're
Yes, thank you
welcome.
so much, John. So you want to do a little bit of breeding. So why don't you tell the people out there what it is you're looking for right now as far as males and females?
Oh, blimey. At the minute, I'm looking for a female Ephiopus marinus.
Nice.
I'm looking for a male Pisciferia metallica, Pisciferia ornata, and Pisciferia tigrina Wesley. I'm also looking for what else am I looking for? Just looking at the collection. A male Phonopelma Johnny Cashi, and I think a male Brachypelma Amelia. That's what I'm looking for at the minute.
Wow.
Everybody get that?
Yeah. So if you have some of those animals and you want to, I assume you do a breeder loan. What is your rules for breeder loans?
I do 50-50. If you help me breed, I'll give you half the slings, and it's up to you what you do with them. And obviously, I would sell my half of them. And yeah, that's pretty
Here's
much
a
it.
question. Have you ever had a falling out with someone over a tarantula deal, or just had basically where there was a misunderstanding, or I don't know? Have you ever?
No, I haven't.
Tell us about a bad experience you've had in the hobby.
The worst experience I've had in the hobby. Oof. I can't say I've actually had bad experiences in the hobby. Everyone I've met because of the hobby has being okay. Like, I know, like in like Facebook groups and whatnot, you see a lot of really nasty people.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, like one-to-one experiences, everyone's been pretty sound. Like when it comes to breeding stuff in the past, I've given like when I've got mature males, I've always just sent them off to breeders I know rather than try and breed them myself and give
Mm-hmm.
them to people with the experience. So that's always gone really well.
Mm.
I haven't really had any bad experiences. Not to say I'm not going to have any bad
Yeah.
experiences, but touch wood till now, everything's been great.
Maybe it's because you're a sexy musician. People just fall in love with you.
Maybe
Maybe.
only that was the case.
So as as a breeder, how much when you let's just say you produce an egg sac or you get half an egg sac from somebody, do you hold back a certain percentage for yourself to raise up for future breeders, or what do you do with that? Are you just happy just having one or two?
I'm just happy to give people the opportunity to buy an animal that they wouldn't normally have the opportunity to buy. I'm pretty selfless. Like I said, once I've got a breeding pair, like money wise, as long as I make the money back I paid out for the breeding pair, I don't care about the rest. I'd rather take that money and put it into new enclosures or, just buying more breeding pairs to give to other people.
Well,
So
John, go ahead, John. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. So I wanted to go back to, because John wasn't part of this, and John and I have been talking about this. Our channel has become pretty stagnant, where our views are starting to slow down a lot, and no matter what content we put out there, there's not a lot of people watching them. So we've been trying to figure out what to do to bring people back to the channel. And you were talking about we only have so many things we can do within the morality of the hobby and still stay interesting. So one of the things that we've done several things that we think we were world's worst at. We actually ripped off a Petco video one time just because I was mad at him. But that's
we did a Petco inspired video where I built an enclosure that was similar to the one because I thought it was cool. Let's say that.
Yeah. So one of the first things that I can think of that we did for the first time was we actually did a live breeding, which we did about 2 years ago. And when I researched it, I could not find anybody else that had done that. And now we're seeing that other people are doing that. And like I told you, when Petco first put his channel out, he was putting lights over the top. And now that's pretty much a common thing when you're watching videos, is that everybody has LEDs over the top of their lights. So what are your thoughts on over the next 6 months? Are you going to be trying to do something original, or are you going to keep doing what you're doing? Because what you're doing is original. Introducing horror to your videos is a pretty unique take on a channel. What are your thoughts in that direction?
Well, I think I'm gonna expand it more. I think my goal for the future is I want to make documentaries rather than just your standard tarantula video. I think there's so many YouTube channels now due to the hobby getting more popular and more people are cottoning onto it, that more people are drawn in to being a YouTube personality and starting their own stuff. So what I would like to do is go into a niche with it that not many people are, which is really getting into the deep, nitty gritty scientific side of tarantula, rather than just like your standard husbandry video of this is the tarantula, this is how you keep it, good luck with it. Like, if you can teach people about the animals as a whole, so they know the ins and outs of everything we know about them, not just specific species, then I think for me personally, that would be a credit to the YouTube people who watch it. Because everyone comes on watching YouTube for one of two reasons. Either they want to learn something or they want to be entertained by it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to combine those two things. So I think if I can give the people the education, which is really lacking, but do it in a way which is, you know, really, what's the word? I'm entertaining as well, and cover the two bases, then that would be my way of moving my channel forward.
So, in the process of doing that, are you looking to make like hour documentaries? Or are you looking to break it up into 5 or 10 minute videos and try to get as much information about a particular species as you possibly can? What do you mean that you want to do a documentary?
And do you mean just filming your animals in enclosures, or do you mean traveling and seeing them in the wild, or what are you thinking?
A bit of both. I think in order to do a documentary, it's very beneficial for keepers to see where their animals come from. Because
Mm-hmm.
even from like, and for me personally, like just an enclosure, you can replicate where that animal actually lives.
Yeah.
You're going to have a happier spider than just having one on just bog standard substrate with a cork bark eye. It's going to feel more natural for the spider to live in. So if you can give these people those little bits of information, it may inspire them to do that, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
a little bit of both.
So here's a funny story. So I personally really enjoy filming field videos, although it's difficult to do. We can show animals in the wild, which I think is a luxury, a privilege. He hates doing it because it's much harder to capture, carry the equipment, all this stuff. You know, I'm running in the desert shorts. I'm like, woo, party time. And he's like, wait. So he does not enjoy it as much as I do. I find it highly fascinating. He hates it. And so we're out in these sand burrows and all this stuff, and there's this little den in the sandbank, and I said, show that. And he said, what's in it? I said, I don't know, but just show it. It's part of the landscape. It's neat. So we show this hole, and then I found a little lizard, and I found a snake, and I found some beetles, and maybe a tarantula in that video. We had so many comments saying, show more burrows. You couldn't even see anything in it. People wanted to see holes in the ground. I was like, okay, we did it. But interesting. So we have a very hard time predicting what our audience wants to see. When we have a video become popular, we're usually totally baffled as to what our most successful video is. By far not our greatest video. It was called Amazing Egg Sack. We've done better egg sack videos before then and since then. And I don't know. I mean, it was a cool video, but we've done better. Another one of our videos was the 5 top reasons not to own an English Mastiff. And it's kind of funny because they're a lot of hassle, but we love them. And they're beautiful dogs and they're really cool. But it's really a pro Mastiff video. We just named it that to be kind of funny. But also we have a turtle video where I'm wearing this jersey that everybody loves, and like the comment thread on that video is thousands of comments long of people talking about the shirt I was wearing. And it's nothing like outrageous, I don't think. But it just, I don't know.
Another interesting aspect to that is our most popular video I had nothing to do with.
Yeah,
it was like 7:00 in the morning. I was headed to work, and her and our daughter, she's really good with editing and camera work. They both filmed it together because when I come in and we do videos, I get kind of mean because my focus is trying to make sure everything's going to be as the best quality it can, and it stresses me out. So it's hard to be nice because I'm just not a nice person. And so I think that some of it was the fact that they were both relaxed and comfortable, and the video just went crazy. And we've done a video that's the exact same thing with a different egg sac, not as many spiderlings, but still, it was a good production.
The
And
footage was actually better because in that amazing egg sac video, it's all our old equipment. It's like in and out of focus. It drives me nuts to go back and watch that video because uh it goes in and out of focus. I mean, the whole thing's not blurry, but it's definitely not our highest quality video, and we've never had a video do as well since, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Personally, I don't think on YouTube the quality like that is necessarily the most important thing. I think a person coming to watch your channel will come to your channel firstly because they're, I'll use the word attractive, but their eye was caught to that channel. Then they get taken in by the personality of that channel.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like who's talking on the screen, straight away, first impressions, they're not going to watch you again. I think that's very important. So that's what brings people to the videos. Personality on the platform is very important, delivery. But not only the way you deliver it, but what you actually deliver to them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can come on to a YouTube video and say, this is a pair of tongs you use it to feed your tarantula. But it takes a very special personality to tell people that same information, and they take in every word that you said about that. So I think that's very important. Now, the next thing that people want to see on videos is someone that shows them something that the 100 channels they've just searched through haven't done as well.
Right.
If you could go on YouTube and say, for example, you type in tarantula, you are going to get hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hundreds of videos on the same species, the same care video, all presenting it in exactly the same way, all giving the same information that they heard from the video before, and it's just replicated and repeated over and over and over again. I think people get drawn to someone that, even though they may make that same video, it's not a repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what draws people in, and that's what gets them interest and keeps them on that video. Like you said there, you did a video where you showed a burrow and you found, what did you say was in it? A lizard or a tarantula?
Well, there was nothing in the burrow. In the video, I found a snake, a lizard, different stuff, but we just shot the burrow for a second, and I was basically like, I wonder if anyone's in there. And people were like, more burrows! And we were like,
So
okay.
that's my point. If you took that video and you looked at every video that come out around that time, no one else showed that burrow. No one showed any burrow. No one showed anything remotely like it. So that was different to everything that was coming out at the time. So that's why they watched it.
Interesting.
And that's why I think if you've got too much of the same thing, there's no choice, there's no variety. People may click someone else's video because it doesn't matter which one you want. You're getting the same product. You're getting
Right.
the same.
Okay. Someone just dropped an interesting comment. It was Moon Over Miami. She said, I think some people are not going to watch if he or she keeps saying subscribe over and over again. So I want to know, I want you to say what you think about that, and you. So Robbie first, what's your opinion on content creators commanding subscribers or viewers to subscribe?
I think it's a very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't understand about YouTube is there are certain expectations from YouTube that they expect you to put in a video in order to trigger their algorithm, in order to put your content in front of more people and get that ball rolling. You've got to remember, YouTube is a business. They want to keep you on this platform for as long as possible. So unless you're following their sort of guidelines that they set out that you should put in videos, you're not naturally going to generate the views and the subscribers that you need. So it is a very powerful thing to give people a little nudge and say, go on, if you like the content, help the channel, help more people enjoy the same content that you're enjoying. Because at the end of the day, if you don't hint to people, please subscribe to me, they're not going to.
Mm-hmm.
And then your channel will disappear into the far recesses of YouTube, never to be seen by anyone.
Right.
So if you but it doesn't hurt saying subscribe, because people are either going to do it or they're not. Like, but I don't think it hurts the channel to say, please help me out. Right? Everyone needs that little help and that push in order to get somewhere on the platform.
Okay. John, your opinion.
So it's kind of a devil's advocate thing on it. Obviously, YouTube wants you to do it. You want to do it because you want those people that are continuously watching you, or those people that are just coming onto your channel to do it. As Moon Over Miami saying, like, if they're a regular viewer of yours and they watch every video regardless, then they're constantly hearing from you, hey, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And you're like pounding it into them. So I can understand that aspect. And I think that's why a lot of creators have switched it over to a PNG. So like instead of you hearing me say at the end of every video, hey, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and all that bullshit. You have this little animatronic PNG somewhere throughout your video. So like mine's in my intro, right? So I give you a little teaser of what the video's gonna have in it, and then I play my intro. And at the end of the intro, I have this bar that says subscribe that scrolls through. And I've gained subscribers off of it. Like I don't know how, but I've gained subscribers off of it. And it's just finding different ways to kind of remind them, because you do need that call to action. Like as much as I hate it, like I despise asking people to do stuff. Unless it's like, hey, comment on this so that I can generate a contest or something for you guys. Or, you know what I mean? But just like saying, hey, make sure you hit that thumbs up on this video, or that's the hardest part for me to get out. Like I continuously have to do multiple takes on that portion of every video that I do. Cause I was like, if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. They'll let me know. You know what I mean? But like you were saying, you have to hit these parameters in order to attain growth. And those parameters change based off your channel size. So like Marita and JD at 54,000 subscribers, they have to hit almost 10 times near as many views, as many likes, comments, all of that as I have to at 1,000 subscribers. Or I forget what you're at. I think it's like 800, right? You're almost there.
Yeah, 850, yeah, almost there.
So you're almost within the same aspect as me. But when you're at like 200 subscribers, right? All you need is 10 to 20%. So that essentially that's what YouTube's looking for, right? You need 10 to 20% of people watching over 50% of your video and interacting with your video, and then watching a portion of another video. And that's where they get you, because I have plenty of people that'll meet those first parameters. It's that, okay, I don't put cards on every video, or like I have end screens on every video, but they'll see the title because it's full collection, or I always set it to whatever's best for the viewer, right? And however YouTube decides to choose like the playlist or the video that's best for the viewer, I have no idea. I'm not that far into the algorithm studying yet, but sometimes it just turns them off. You know what I mean? Or they have certain people that they watch every single day. So it's like, for me, I do the same thing. So I know, okay, this person posts at this time, this person posts at this time. I have enough time to watch that person's video and then watch that one and then watch that one. So you're not going to get multiple videos out of me in one day, but I do continuously watch your content every time you post.
Okay.
That's
your
I think
opinion.
there's two sides to that, actually. Because even though you want to put out content for your viewer, that's your personal goal. Whereas YouTube actually don't care what the content is. They really couldn't care less. All they care about is the engagement, how many likes you get, how many clicks on subscribes you get, how many comments you get, and how long people are on their platform. So it is hard to juggle personal preference, viewers' preference, YouTube preference on it. I do get what you're saying there. It's very difficult. YouTube have actually made it harder for content creators on the platform to get anywhere with their videos because they're not looking for what we're looking for. So it's a constant battle.
Right. Okay. Tell us what you think.
I don't really have any opinion. I don't know how it works.
So enthusiastic.
And I've told you that you need to do that more, and I have to remind you because you forget a lot. And I don't know if it's actually helping us or not. I think what Robbie was saying is more along the lines is you have to find something that is really engaging and unique, and it, like, I go back to Petco's grabbing the stick and sticking it in his bathtub. I mean, that was something that I watched a minute of it because I want to know why it was getting so many views, but it was not anything that I was interested in. And the comments were like, man, I can't believe you did that. That is just the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it makes me wonder about a lot of things in my life.
But that's the thing. That's what I was talking about, like with the YouTube algorithm, is it wasn't the content that got in the views, it's the engagement. YouTube put it in front of more people because more people clicked subscribe, more people wrote a comment, even if it was a bad comment, like that was the worst video I've ever seen. It's still engagement. So that's why it racked up so many views, is because so many people, regardless of the content, were interacting with it.
And Petco is actually, he's a YouTuber. I mean, the guy knew YouTube before he got started. And that's,
or so we suspect. That's just a theory.
There's no way you could do what he did.
That's our theory.
We watched him from 100 subscribers to jump way over us. So
which is why we developed that theory.
It's not a theory. The guy actually, after 6 months of doing YouTube, was doing YouTube
content creator workshops or something.
Hey, beast, but being an angry beast and let the beauty talk. Damn.
Yeah, do I get to say what I think about commanding? Right. Okay.
Darling, what do you think?
Thank you, my love. Thank you, Beard.
Fucking moderator over here.
That's partly why you're here, sir. Okay. My personal opinion, we've been directed by YouTube to command our audience, present a call to action, tell them to comment, tell them to subscribe, and to do it early and to do it firmly and to do it regularly, because we know most people don't watch to the end. So putting it on the end may or may not be effective, probably won't be. We know that a majority of our viewers are not subscribers. I don't know why. But my personal opinion, if I'm going to watch a video, if I want to learn about something, if I want to be entertained, I listen to like weird historical stuff. I listen to like cultural documentaries. If I don't like what I'm hearing for whatever reason, I click off of a video and I make it a point not to watch that person again. Um, I mean, this is just going to sound terrible. If I don't like someone's voice, which I don't like my own voice for the record, I've had people comment on a rare occasion that I have a horrible voice. I agree. Um, so I find it highly obnoxious for someone to command the viewer to subscribe at the beginning, because I would never, ever, ever subscribe to something that I don't want to see again, because that's just one more annoying thing in my life that I have to experience. For what reason? Because I chose to subscribe. Now, if I watch something and I enjoy it, yes, of course, I'll probably subscribe. But if someone says to subscribe at the beginning of a video and to me it comes across as too pushy, I usually make a definitive choice not to watch them again. I don't want to alienate our audience. I feel like it's pushy and obnoxious a lot of times. I think some people can pull it off. Um, I've been recommended it's been recommended to me to just record a little where you say it and you like the way you say it, and then you put that in at the end to where you're not having to fight every time to try and say it in the greatest way. I like your idea, John, of not saying it, but maybe having a text in there, or I don't know though. I think it's really catch 22. And at the end of the day, I think if you hate your own content, what's the point
I,
almost?
I also think, like what you just said, you only have it in text form.
Mhm.
I think that works for people watching videos and whatnot, but the way that's counterproductive is, say there's a lot of people that have YouTube on in the background who
Right.
are listening to it, not
Mhm.
watching it.
Me, for
You're
one, I do that.
missing, you do that, you're missing 50% of your viewers
Mhm.
getting their attention to subscribe. Say your video was on, you know where they do the next video to be played will
Right.
be, and
Mhm.
it's a random video.
Right.
Say your video that they're watching now was the random video that popped up. Say they're going about and doing their whole daily chores and whatnot, and
Mhm.
they your video comes on and it's in the background. They're doing their washing, they're doing their cooking. By the end of the video, they go, "That was a really good video. Who was it?" "Oh, I don't know. It's finished. It's gone."
Mm.
You're missing an audience. So I think you have to have a healthy balance of both. Where you pull it, you have to juggle as well. Because say you make a 10-minute video and you put it at the beginning, people are going to hear it. They may get turned off like you.
Mhm.
But say you've got that same 10-minute video, and you put it at the end, and they only watch 5 minutes of your video. A, they haven't heard it or seen it or had that call to action, and they also haven't had it at the end because they haven't got that far. They switched it off. There's a lot of things you have to juggle and think about when it comes
I agree.
to that call to action. I don't think there's any right or wrong
Yeah.
because everyone has different preferences.
So along that line of thinking, there's a lot of people, me, for example, I will pick a subject area and I'll play it while I do laundry, while I, brush out my hair, while I whatever. And I watch with my eyes very little content. He gets mad, very little. And I don't listen to it. I mean, I let it play, but I'm not listening to it all the way through. I'm listening, but I'm walking in and out of the room. On the other hand, there's a whole nother population of viewers who are silent watchers. They like to turn their phone on while they're in line places, and they never hear. So maybe it's really important to have text and audio where you say it. Cause then there's a lot of times where I'm I don't know, for whatever reason I'm watching content, but there's no volume. And I know a lot of people almost only do that. They want to see the animals or whatever, but they're standing out in public or walking through the grocery store and they're like, "Oh, a video on." But it's impolite to have a video playing, when you're out in public. Some people use earbuds, I guess, but I know a lot of people almost never listen. They just watch. Especially like on like other, when your videos pop up on other platforms, like on Facebook, you'll be scrolling through, I don't know, like stories. I'm not really sure how it works, but only if you click on it does the sound even turn on. And a lot of times I'll sit there and watch it for a little while, but I don't listen to it. I'm just like, oh, I don't know, somebody's working with servals, or, oh, there's a new species of tarantula that was imported, or, oh, wow, they have an albino in this species now. But a lot of times I'll watch it and not listen. So I don't know.
I personally think as a content creator, you should try and cater for all possibilities. Because at the end of the day, if people don't like something, they're not going to like it. Like, not everyone's going to like your content. For every one person that hates it, one person loves it. So for all those that don't like you staying subscribed at the beginning, someone's going to subscribe at the beginning. You're never going to be able to win that battle.
Well, this guy, Moon Over Miami, said, I have heard like and dislikes don't matter. Look at Howard Stern. He said the likes and dislikes of him made him more popular. And the reality was, according to the movie, was that when they were doing evaluations of his radio program, that the people that hated him listened just as much as the people that loved him, because they wanted to know what he was going to say next.
And to hate him for it.
And a couple years ago, she decided to do an evaluation of herself, so she put herself in Google and found a whole page. Actually, it was 3 pages on a forum about people that hated her. But the one thing that she took from that she actually made her happy, it still makes me pissed off to think about it.
I don't care.
Was that in all of that, people said, I hate her because, or I love her because, or I like her because.
Most people said hated.
Nobody said, who are you talking about?
Everyone knew who I was. So I was like, hey, that's a good thing. He was mad.
Still am.
That was like 7 years ago, by the way. And also Moon Over Miami said that they like the way Ants Canada kind of says it in a whisper. So that's cute. I think finding kind of a silly way to do it is really a good idea that doesn't come across as pushy or whiny.
It is definitely delivery. It is definitely the way you do it. You can't go on there and just say, hey, subscribe to me.
Or do that.
I
and
mean,
be
you
funny
could,
but
you could do that. You could do it if you
counterproductive.
did it in a jokey way, so people knew it was a joke.
Right.
It's like me. I say it at the beginning of my video. I do. But I just say to people, look, if you like tarantula content, that's what I'm making. If you want to see more of it, there's a subscribe button. It's not telling people you must subscribe, but it's
more of a polite suggestion.
Well, I've got a question for you that is not about tarantulas. I've been talking to John a lot about this. He thinks that I need to change, I think, the iOS or the PPQ or the TRP. I don't remember what
he's right.
letters you said. But so we want to incorporate more of our, what's that?
SEO.
Is that what it was?
The
3 letters. But
search engine optimization.
There you go. So we want to incorporate more of our other collection, because this whole time we've been doing this, we've been keeping reptiles in the background hardcore. I mean, we always have. And now we want to incorporate more into that. But when we started this channel, I actually researched the words that I thought was going to drive the most traffic to the channel. So I ended up with Deadly Tarantula Girl. Those are 3 words that are very commonly looked up on YouTube.
Not only that, but at that time, which we're talking almost 10 years ago now, people were putting out some good reptile content, and there were 2 invert channels or tarantula channels that people were able to find and that were consistent, and that was Rob C and John 3800. So number one, there was not any females representing the hobby, and number two choices is not a lot. So we're like, okay, there's a need out there, and so we made the agreement to only post tarantula content, because there was a need for it, and until we kind of got built an audience. It was like 5 years in before we decided to start showing some of the other things that we were doing, because we were doing it 100 hours a week. Why not capture some of it and share? Because people would say, "Oh, you guys are breeding that? How are you doing that? Oh, you're keeping that? Well, what are their enclosures like?" And so we're like, "All right, we're established. We can take a risk." So, sorry, go on.
No, that's fine. And so what we want to do is we want to incorporate more of that. But of course, with the name and the reputation that we now have, we're having a hard time reaching across to the reptile keepers. For one, it's a way bigger market.
Mm-hmm.
But for two, and there's lots of females doing everything now, keeping
Right.
reptiles, keeping tarantulas. We're having a hard time with our audience. We don't want to upset them in the process of doing that. What would you recommend for trying to broaden the scope of your channel?
Like anything, trial and error. You can always sit there and say, what if? But until you actually do it, you'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you've been around so many years now that an evolution like that, I think people would still just watch it. I don't think people are going to go, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" I think now that exotic animals have become more popular and are continuing to grow more popular, people do want to see that diversity. So I don't think it's anything that you should be afraid to do. There's no harm. At the end of the day, you said you're trying to expand, right? The only way you're going to expand is just to do it and see what happens. If
Right.
it doesn't work, don't do it again. If it does work, carry on doing it.
Well, and I also feel. Oh, go ahead.
I think you're not, if you were just starting out, I would understand the apprehension of, do we go in this direction? But you're established now. You're past that point. People know who you are. They know what your content's about. They know how you deliver it. They know your style. Just like the Petco washing the stick in the bathroom. People are going to come and watch it. They enjoy you as presenters and content makers. But if you do put out a reptile video, the same people are still going to come and watch it. And you'll still draw people in who never watched your tarantula content, but they're going to come in because they're interested in what you are putting out, the reptile content. So I don't think you've got anything to lose by doing it. No one come and watches it. You don't have to put out a reptile video again. Try something else.
Right. I also feel like there's a real good crossover between invert and reptile keepers.
Mm-hmm.
What I would not do is, let's say I also really enjoyed knitting. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, so I'm doing a knitting video today." Unless it was maybe crocheting a tarantula or something, but still I wouldn't make that a regular content. To be honest, and I love you, John Sosiak, not John. Well, I love you too, but I'm about to criticize someone's channel. When John Sosiak, John 3800, started showing lawnmower videos, I was like, what is this? I mean, I don't really.
Do you think that's because it's
Or
so
weed
far?
eaters.
Do you think that's
And
because it's so far removed from what you wanted
that's
him
what I'm
for?
saying.
Yeah, you can go so far with it as long as it's in the same
Yeah,
circle.
don't you feel like
Don't step
tarantulas?
outside the circle.
Yeah, like inverts and reptiles are there's, that's what I'm saying. There's like a reasonable crossover, and a lot of
Absolutely.
people that keep tarantulas, even if they don't want them or keep them, like if I showed a corn snake video, they might be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. I'll watch this." But it's still kind of within the same scope. That's what I think. So we just had a consultant, our media managers recommend that we stop filming anything but tarantula videos and make a new channel and only put the reptile content on a new channel. And I'm like, why would we start over at this point? Especially since we've been incorporating reptile footage now for a few years. So we do have a reptile audience. It's not huge, but I thought that was a terrible recommendation.
I think that's a terrible recommendation because you're giving yourself double the work, really.
Mm-hmm.
You're having to run two separate channels. And at the end of the day, on your tarantula channel, you would be saying, if you like this, go over to this channel. And on your reptile channel, if you like tarantulas, go onto this channel. So you're just constantly trying to
fighting
cross
against
over.
yourself almost.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that is silly. It's very silly. And also, like, you're building it from the ground up again. You're basically starting again.
We wouldn't even have a partnership with that channel.
Yeah, you don't need to do it. I think that's silly. Silly advice.
Thank you, Robbie. I'm happy to hear you say that.
That's John? Like me suddenly going out tomorrow and saying I'm going to bring out a video on Pokemon. It's just,
exactly.
You do it.
I'm with you 1,000%. John, what do you think about us having reptile content on our tarantula channel?
So at the end of the day, you need to look at it like this. The biggest YouTubers that do anything with any sort of animal, right? It's not, well, Barchek's up there, right? But he's up there because he has a multitude of animals. It's not just reptiles. It's pet tubers. Pet tubers get millions and millions and millions of subscribers. They get a lot of views, and it's because they have a variety. The difference of what we are doing now versus what the pet tubers do, and I've said this before, is they organize it and they know how to do the SEO, and they understand kind of how the algorithm works, where us that are a little bit up there in age, like I'm not old, but I'm getting there. We're still trying to understand this. You know what I mean? Like we enjoy it very much so. Like I love doing YouTube. I love having a community to reach out to, and like, especially in times like this, you're like, it gives you a drive. It gives you something to do, and you feel some sense of normalcy because we don't have that right now. But I've been arguing this with JD for so long. I'm ready to blow up. So what I've been telling him since we started our partnership is don't try to do a story within a story. If you're going to do a vlog style, right? Like you don't want to tell one simple story. You want to have a story that leads into another story so that you're continuously having that reason to go back and forth, and you're engaging your viewer's mind. Like if you sit here and you listen to me say, okay, I have, and I don't smoke anymore, but we're clearing out our house, right? Thank you. So I have this vape from when I vaped like 5 years ago, right? I did it for a little while. It didn't matter. But I could tell you about the battery in this thing. I could tell you about the mod. I could tell you about the tank. I could tell you about all this different stuff, right? And how it intertwines. You got to find a way to tell your story to where you're essentially telling two stories. So I'm telling you about the battery of this and how it helps the mod last longer and run better, and because of the wattage of the battery and all that shit, right? But then I tell you, well, it works really well on this mod because of these reasons. So I'm giving you two stories at once, and it helps your audience to kind of feel like they learn something or they understand or they're engaging in something more than just, oh, I just watched a fucking 15-minute video on a battery for a vape mod. What a waste of 15 minutes. But I like the person, so I wanted to support him.
Well,
you know what I mean? And then create your playlist. Like, have a tarantula playlist, have a freaking reptile, have a snake playlist, have a freaking lizard playlist, have a crocodilian playlist, have a whatever, you can have infinite playlists. And then for each of one of those playlists, you have your own set of SEO. Like, you could create tags, you could do whatever you need to for each individual playlist. So that draws that base to your channel still, but they know, okay, this playlist. So that when you're at the end of it, at the end of your videos, you could say, okay, I hope you enjoyed this video about tarantulas. If you're interested in reptiles, you can watch this playlist. If you want to watch more tarantula videos, then watch this playlist. And there you go. It's not hard. It's just being convincing and finding a way to tell a story and setting up the SEO.
So
and
you can tag playlists?
putting out. Yes.
I had no idea.
When you're setting up your playlist, you could set up a set of tags just for that playlist. So that when someone's searching up, like, for reticulated pythons, you could literally make a playlist for just reticulated pythons and put like sunset or sunfire orange glow and pied reticulated pythons or motley pieds or all the stuff that you have, right? And you can make that playlist so that anytime they search reticulated python or reticulated python unboxing or certain morphs of reticulated python, there you go. They're drawn to that playlist. That playlist is going to pop up in the search, and then that's going to draw them to your channel. And then they're going to look at your other playlists. Hopefully, maybe not, but hopefully by you being engaging and getting them to the end of that video, being like, okay, well, here's a tarantula playlist. If you like tarantulas, here's my reticulated python playlist. If you like reticulated pythons and you enjoy this video, I really recommend it because obviously that's why you clicked on the fucking video, right? Here's a crocodilian playlist. If you're intrigued by these animals or you're scared of them, here, we're showing you why you shouldn't be scared of them. But you can set up all those things individually. It's taking the time to set up the channel so that it's customer friendly and not you friendly.
So, Robbie, do you have playlists on your channel?
I do have playlists. Although I only do tarantula content, I've got a few playlists. I've got one which is strictly feeding videos, one which is strictly husbandry videos, one that's strictly like unboxing videos, rehousing videos. So if they only like one type of video, they only have to watch that one type, or they can watch everything. So yes, I do have that on the channel.
So what was your knowledge base when you started your channel? What did you do to learn about how to get to bring viewers to your channel? What kind of research did you do?
In the beginning, none. But then I started to think to myself, there's got to be a secret to YouTube. There's got to be. So what I did in YouTube was type in how to gain more subscribers. And then up popped Nick Nim and Brian G. Johnson and a few other YouTubers that specialize in telling you how YouTube works. And then I started watching their videos and taking that knowledge and applying it to my channel. And then after that, slowly but surely, it started the ball properly rolling. Because then once you learn about the YouTube algorithm and how that works, once you incorporate it, the algorithm works for you to put your videos in front of people that specifically search what you're putting out. And that's how you snowball. It's not like back in the day where you could just upload a video, put it out there and people would find it. They've completely changed the way it works. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people start YouTube now, after 6 months, get discouraged and just give up their channel because they don't take the time to learn how YouTube works. They may make great content, they may put their heart and soul into it, but until they know how the platform works, it's not going to go anywhere.
So you add a little bit of stuff from movies and things like that. Have you ever been gotten a copyright strike or anything? How do you work around that?
Or do you even have to follow that rule because you don't have a partnership yet?
The problem, having come from the music industry, I know a few little loopholes with copyright. So basically, I use like the Creative Commons side of things. Like if I use, I'll give an example. I recently put up a video where I did a Hellraiser intro and I used movie clips. But because I only used a couple of seconds of it and then switched it to something else and then a couple of seconds again, and I also edited the way it looks and changed it, where it's not the original format, it doesn't come under it's their original work. It's been edited, changed, doctored, therefore it's your creation. But no, I don't get copyright strike just because I bend how it works.
Excellent. And how did you learn that stuff? Just playing the game, or did you actually have some kind of a class or somebody tell you what the process was?
Years of experience and just things you pick up naturally, like just being in the entertainment industry.
Cool.
So you're smart and sexy. Wow. You should definitely have more viewers.
Well, I'm trying. I am trying. But even like my content alone, I'm never happy with my content. In my own head, I have an image of exactly how I want it to be, even if I script it and work it out, and it never quite gets there. So for me, that's more important than the subscriber stuff. It's the personal challenge of making that video how I want it to look. So that's what keeps bringing me back to it. And plus, I love the learning side of things, like how to edit and how to, that creative side of it. That's another reason I do it. I can't get enough of that.
So what is your editing software? What do you use?
I just use a program called KineMaster on my cell phone.
Wow. Interesting. What do you use, John?
I just use iMovie.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. When did we upgrade to Adobe Premiere?
5 or 6 years into it.
It's no fun to use.
Just used to use Movie Maker.
Yeah.
And then we got a partnership that they had some kind of editing software
Well,
that I hated.
a manager.
Yeah, and I hated it. So we ended up going to Premiere Pro but now my computer is only a year old and I'm having trouble editing. That's why we haven't put a video out. I spent the last 2 days just trying to get my editing software fixed. So for everybody that's waiting for a video, sorry, there's one coming. I'm just trying to get my computer fixed.
Wow. So that's interesting to hear you say that you're never totally satisfied with your content. I don't know that I've ever heard a creator say that. John, do you feel the same way?
I hate my content.
I wouldn't say we hate our content usually. Sometimes I look at a video and I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to publish that. All right. And usually it's just because I think I look totally ratchet. Sometimes the light just doesn't light the animals the way we want it to. Pretty much always, I think we look at our videos and go, oh man, you know, you can see the light guy's bald head in that clip, which Dave used to do that every time he held the light. He'd bend over put his head into the frame, and then he's like, what? I'm bald? And I'm like, yeah, you're bald. Or like somebody's shoes, or I don't know, just whatever, like, oh, that was showing, or it's, oh, hi, Scouty Poo.
You're beautiful.
Hi, you're beautiful.
I was watching y'all, and then I haven't been watching the whole thing because I've been with the kids, but I love y'all's videos. I'm at a weird angle here. I'm sitting sideways.
That makes me so happy. But I feel like probably anyone who's an artist or creator in some way, probably almost no matter what, unless you're at like the top professional level where you have help on every side, I would think that's probably a good sign that a creator's never satisfied with their work. You know,
I
because then
think,
you're always kind of striving and you're like, oh, I need to upgrade camera lenses, or oh, we need to spend more time focusing on, you know, whatever.
yeah, I think
And
if
for
you're not,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're not self-critical, you will never improve,
Yeah.
and you consistently put out the same product every time.
Mediocre product, yeah.
And you'll get
And for
stuck
the
in that hole. So
for the record, we have probably thousands of hours of video that has never been put out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we filmed that was just, there was no way we could fix it. And I think that's pretty common when you're doing YouTube videos if you have any kind of self-critique. But you need to hit enter. So you're just about getting ready to go to work, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
So I guess we better let you go.
Yes, we've held you hostage for over 2 hours. And I just want to say I love your content. Definitely we're going to be posting your all your links in the info. Everybody go check out Robbie. I think you're amazing. I'm super happy that we finally had you on the show. We're really sorry about the time mix up. John, glad you were able to make it and looking lovely as always.
And I apologize.
Yeah, I don't
you
look
as always.
all that great
Oh,
today.
thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
We'll have to do this again. What I'd like to do is try to put a forum of people together and actually talking about the issues with YouTube and maybe try to spread the knowledge out, because I don't think that this should be a big secret. I think people should easily be able to find a way to get their videos watched. And we want to try to grow as we help other people grow.
And so I'd like to point out that it's like finding a unicorn, understanding the YouTube algorithm, and you spend time and research and money and get consultations and all this stuff, and you figure it out, and life is beautiful, and then YouTube changes it in 3 to 6, 9 months, maybe a year. But that's part of being in an industry that's involved with technology in any way. So we love it, and we're just going to keep doing it as long as people are watching. Right. So, yeah.
So everybody take care. This was Robbie's Talking Tees. How can people get a hold of you if they want to find your content?
Well, on every platform, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, you name it, even
TikTok?
YouTube, it's all Robbie's Talking Tees. No, I can't stand TikTok. I can't stand it. But yeah, just search Robbie's Talking Tees and I will pop straight up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was amazing having you. And John and Scouty Poo, the Beard and the Mrs. Beard, we love you guys too.
Love you guys.
So everybody take care. Thanks for stopping by and checking us out. If you're looking for Robbie's Talking Tees, he can be found in all the big places just under Robbie's Talking Tees.
And we'll drop all of his links in the description box. Everyone that was in the chat, thank you so much. Scouty Poo, Ramiro was on. Thank you so much, Ramiro. I'm a big fan. Moon over Miami, dropping some good comments. Rocky Mountain Spider Freaks was on. Love them. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a great weekend. Love you guys.
Bye.